This is a Springfield Hellcat. And today's review I wanted to do because I don't want us to forget about guns that had an impact on the industry when they came out. I used to see advertisements upon advertisements for this firearm. And today, Hal Mack provided me with the Springfield Hellcat, the accessories for it, the holster for it, the mag carrier for it. And I just want to say thanks a lot, Mr. Hal Mack, for providing all the stuff that I needed to make today's review happen. This micro compact is very small firearm, and because it's so small, you're finding yourself struggling for different purchase on the grips of this firearm. And it seems like it's rather snappy. It seems like it has some kickback, in which you can control all of that if you just practice, and you practice and you practice, and you figure out how it is that you should be holding the gun, how it is that you should be doing things to line stuff up with this gun. The serrations are actually really cool, because these serrations that are on this gun, they're not extended and they don't dig out into your body when you're concealing this gun, in which concealing this gun is, rather a nice thing to do because it's so small. I also like that this gun came optic ready. I believe this is the RMR CC cut, or it's the really small red dot cut. Shield Arms, I believe, makes a red dot that you can put on top of this gun. The sights have this U-notch sight right here. And that U-notch sight, you got to figure out how to line that dot, that tritium dot, which I like that it's tritium actually up here in the front, because in the nighttime it gives you a chance to, it gives you a reference for doing some night shooting. And this dot really does light up the night. I will say it's a very good one. This is a hammer forged barrel that's inside this gun. So, I will say I put some rounds through this gun, and it's not, it doesn't heat up. It doesn't turn into the gun that's overly hot. The gun does have a rail on the front. It's limited to, the type of lights you can put on this rail, but at least you can put a light on this rail. It's a really small one, but there's a lot. I think TLR Sub 7 might be the light that my boy Hal Mack prefers. It's got this little thumb rest right here, and it's not a thumb rest. It's actually a pin for you to use when you're taking down the gun, but you can use it as a thumb rest, when you push out. My thumb sits right here perfectly on it, being that I don't have these big monster hands. My thumb sits perfectly on it. It gives me a nice reference point for me to put my thumb on and do some pressure with my support hand. The trigger to this gun, it's not the greatest trigger, but it's actually a decent trigger. It's not as rugged as the trigger inside the Glock, which I love to complain about it, the feel of it on my finger. But, this gun, once you get a squeeze, will show you what this reset is like. The reset, there's a lot of play in this. There's definitely a lot of play in this. And that prep is probably good for new shooters, but for people who are experienced shooters, this play is not something that we actually prefer to have. So when you know how to prep your trigger the right way, it's very stern. So I don't find myself misfiring, with some of the, like you would with some other triggers, that are enhanced and stuff like that. You might try to press the trigger, or you might try to prep the trigger and accidentally get that shot off, in which no shot is accidental. You should know what it is you're doing. So in this gun, I like, that it's actually kind of stern right there. And then when you come back, the reset, there is a long reset in this. I'll show you from the other side. There is a long reset on this. Pull, let out. There's some travel. So this is the type of gun that you actually have to get out. You have to do some prep with. You have to put some shots down range. I took a chance to put some shots down range in this gun, and I kind of feel like my shots that I put down range were falling low and to the left, in which my first 3 shots were bullseyes, or bullseyes came out of these 20-something shots that I took. I know my first 2 shots were bullseyes, and then I got this little low and to the left. Now, could I credit that to being something with the sights? I guess I could go and push the sight over a little bit. You need the right tool to actually do it. But, this gun, I would actually say shoots pretty well. I put 5 shots into the head area right here. And those 5 shots, I tried to, shoot a little bit faster than I normally would. And those 5 shots weren't bad. Once again, I'm keeping them in a 2-inch circle. And any gun that you can shoot and you can keep your shots within a 2-inch circle, I'm going to say it's a good gun. Out of, let's just say the 200 rounds I've probably shot through this gun since I had it, I have no misfires. I have no failures to feed. Show you the mag release button. The mag release is something, it's a small mag release, but when you press it, this magazine comes shooting up out of this gun. It's not that it's one of those guns that the magazine gets stuck up in the gun. That doesn't actually happen. So I really like that about this gun. This is a 15-round magazine, in which this Hellcat, I believe, came with a 12-round magazine that I have right here in my hand. I like that the magazines are steel because I'm a very big fan of steel magazines, but this, you can increase your output, or you can increase the rounds that you have inside your magazine by getting one of their 15-round magazines. And then if you don't want to have to deal with that little bit of magazine that's hanging out the end of the gun, there's a spacer that you can put on it, and this spacer actually provides some really good purchase on the firearm. You see, I got the spacer on here now, and it allows me to, get all the way down to my pinky with the grip. My pinky actually gets on here the right way so that I can have the good purchase on the gun. There are 17-round magazines that have recently come out for this Springfield Hellcat, and you have a lot of companies that do upgrades to the Springfield Hellcat. There's a lot of companies that port barrels, that cut slides, that do a lot of different things. The Springfield Hellcat is one that you can actually find the accessories for. You can find extra magazines for it at a lot of gun stores that you go to. But what I'm most interested in is the holster. And this holster that I'm showing you is actually one made by Blackhawk Concealment, if that's their name. But Blackhawk makes it. It's called the Stash, or the Stashay, and it's a really good holster. I actually like this holster. You got this option to have this one clip, or they give you and they provide you with two clips that you can put on here and you can use for the Stashay. One right here, and then the magazine carrier, the magazine caddy, actually comes where you can connect it to this holster right here. And I actually like this Blackhawk Concealment holster. It has very, very good retention. Very good retention. As you shake it, your gun is not going to be coming out the bottom of it. It's not huge. It's not bulky. And once again, as I was thinking about, would I be a person who got a Springfield Hellcat? The first thing that I thought of was magazines and holster options, for sure. And you can go find this Stashay holster for a really affordable price. They make them for a lot of guns. So, I would suggest some of you guys get out and check out the Stashay if you run a gun without a light. I don't believe they make this Blackhawk holster for light or with light retention. But if you run it without a light, this is a really good option of a holster to actually use. If you had a chance to get this gun and this was your end-all be-all, don't think that you got a bad gun. This is an actual good gun. I'm going to give this a thumbs up. I don't believe in having a ton of different everyday carries. I believe you should find something that you like to everyday carry and stick with it. But if you had the Hellcat, like my boy Mr. Hal Mack has the Hellcat, I think he made a good choice. You get out, you do some training, you learn how to do the proper shooting with this gun, and everything should be fine. It's not a $300 gun. It's not a $1,000 gun. So it's going to nestle right in there in like maybe the $600 price range, in which you have an array of guns that you can actually get for $600. So if you're a Springfield fan or you're a Springfield guy, this might be something that you want to check out. Springfield Hellcat. It's got a thumbs up from me.